All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us for this Discipline Therapy Thursday with your two incredible hosts, Mr. Eel Discipline, and with him always, Suhey Sotomayor. Before we begin, you know how we do around here. We got to clear the energy. All right. Still going. Um, while that's still going, I'm just going to go over a few things. There's a link in the description on how to become part of our Patreon family and subscribe for exclusive content, bloopers, behind the scenes, and Mr. Eel Discipline's solo lectures of discipline therapy talk. His BDSM content, erotic posts, and writings by Mr. Discipline. Then we have collaboration shows pertaining to sensitive topics such as sexual abuse, rape, domestic violence, transgender, children abductions, conspiracy theories, government conspiracy theories, what's going on in Gaza, with myself and Mr. Discipline. Once again, that is patreon.com/ the Discipline Therapy Podcast. We also have Mr. Eel Discipline books available. We have them on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. We have it for electronic version as well, such as Kindle and more. There's a link in the description of the video for that. We also have our online store merch, and that's at disciplinetherapy.launchcart.store/shop. We have some new gear that just hit. We're always trying to get our categories there, put new stuff on. Go check it out. And we're also on major listening platforms such as Spotify, Apple iTunes, Deezer, Castbox, Overcast, I think iHeartRadio, and much more. So today we have season 12, episode 130. Are we more likely to see Black men dating white women, or white men, Asian men, or Latino men dating Latina or Black women? And we have a special guest on the line.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good. Did you hear what the topic is?
Repeat it again for me, please.
More likely to see Black men dating white women, or white men, Asian men, or Latino men dating Latina or Black women? Okay.
You want me to answer the question?
Hold
No,
on.
not yet.
Hold on.
Before we do,
Okay.
Hold on.
Mr. Yildiz was going to do his thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, we know y'all fiends and y'all know what that means. We're serving you your dose weekly of discipline therapy where not everything is completely free, as we are on patreon.com/the discipline therapy podcast for a plethora of exclusive content for you to see. But what is free is it's judgment free, sucker free, censor free, sensitive free, and some liberty. God and the ancient ancestors are great, and that means everything else is straight. So go grab your wine, popcorn, or my favorite roll of blunt. But make sure the kids are in bed. Why? Because we have that soul food and sometimes vulgar conversations prepare your mind to be fed. Light one up, inhale life, and exhale strife. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, you are tuned in to the Discipline Therapy Podcast. We're here.
All right. I almost cut you out of that, Mr. Yildiz. My bad. All right. So, do you want to remain anonymous, or will you state your name?
No, please remain anonymous.
All right. So, going back to the topic, what do you think? Are we more likely to see Black men dating white women, or other men of different nationalities dating Latina and Black women?
I feel like you'll see a lot of Black men
And why do you
trying
think?
to date white women because I feel like to them they can get over on other nationalities or race, I should say. For say a Black woman, like for myself, maybe I'm too overly independent, so certain things a Black man won't get from me.
Mm.
Maybe because my standards are too high. I just feel like it could be double standards, but I feel like Black men oftentimes go off to other race. A white woman might serve them or treat them like a king, or do more than what a Black woman would do
Do you think
if
there's
they're not
something wrong
doing
with that?
much. Personally, it doesn't bother me. I don't care. I'm being
Okay.
honest. It doesn't bother me.
Do you treat your man like a king?
Yes, because he deserves it.
Okay.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So have you experienced this?
Experience what exactly?
So, okay, so let me not be presumptuous. Let me actually ask. Do you date outside your race or do you stay within your race?
I've never dated outside of my race, but I have dated outside of my nationality, and I didn't like it.
Huh.
Mm,
Interesting.
The reason why I'm saying that is, like I've dated strictly with just strictly Jamaican. When I migrated to America, I gave that a break and I started dating American men. However, it was cool, but the cultural difference made it very difficult to communicate. I,
Mm.
mm,
for myself, found that dating an American guy that doesn't know much about my culture was 10 times harder trying to communicate with them because things that I would do would come off as odd to them because they're not used to seeing that.
Mm.
For instance, like in Jamaica, okay, it's normal for us to walk outside barefoot. It's completely normal. You know what I mean? Obviously, if you're going to go in the house, you have to wash your feet, you have to clean your feet. When I came here, if I'm walking in the yard or stuff barefoot, I was looked at as weird. Like, why are you outside barefoot?
Oh,
There's
wow.
simple things like that. Yeah, so it was just simple things like that that made it difficult. Not just only that, but like our beliefs is completely different. Our values are completely different. I'm not saying all American men, but the ones that I've came across.
Mm. Has something like this happened to any of like the women you know or friends of yours?
Like dated outside of their race.
Mm.
Um, no. Like my close best friend, she usually stick within the Jamaican. Like she had tried like Haitian men and stuff like that. I've dated a Haitian guy. He treated me well, but it was too much. Like either they become possessive or like, they want to be in control. Like, they become very controlling.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They become very controlling. But back to the topic, I just feel like black men step out of their race because they feel like they're not getting that type of love from black women. And I feel like it has a lot to do with the men not showing us the type of love that we want, like to nurture us. So we're not giving them our soft side because you're not making us soft.
Mm. Okay.
You know, like for my boyfriend, we've been together for years and he gets the softest side of me because he makes me feel like, okay, I don't always have to go 10 times as hard as I used to because he got it, you know? But at the same time, I still go hard. But it's good to know that I have that support. So, of
From
course,
him.
I'm going to go all out for him. Yes.
Mm.
I have that support from him. Yeah.
So
So I feel like that's where it comes from.
he's showing you that you don't that you can be soft with him. That's what you're saying, that you
Yes.
can treat him that way? Okay.
Yes. That I can be soft with him, that I could be myself. I could be vulnerable and vice versa. I give him that comfort where he can be soft,
Was it
you
always
know?
like that, or did you have to like
Um, Starting out, no, because
mm,
I'm a I was a terror, you know? I was a terror. It all started, like, with trust,
mm,
with trust.
same.
I I suffer from well, suffered no, I still have it. I suffer from abandonment issues,
mm,
so I wouldn't let anyone in. If I let you in, it was but to where I want you to be. You'll never get to see the 100%. He showed me like it's okay. It's okay to let your guard down. But that came with trust because it was a thing like if my dad left at such a young age and he's obligated to me because he's responsible for me, but if he could turn his back on me, why would another man
not do it?
even then, stay in my life?
Mm,
So he showed me like, listen, we're gonna argue, we're gonna fight, but I'm not just gonna get up and leave. But it took a while for me to open up and see like, okay, even though he was saying it, he showed me. It wasn't just talk. He showed
mm,
me like, I'm here, I'm gonna stay. So the both of us gave each other comfort and we give each other the space where we could, speak freely and just open up and knowing that it's okay to be soft and
mhm.
I'm gonna treat you like a king because you treat me that way.
Same ethnicity?
Yes, we're both Jamaicans. Yep.
Okay.
Now, has any of your friends been, has it happened where their men left them for like a white woman or another woman?
Not that I know of, no.
Okay.
Okay, so you said earlier about you feel subjectively men can get over on them, control aspect, and your standards are high, and a lot of men can't meet that. I'm just paraphrasing, it's not verbatim. So I want to
Mhm.
ask, what are your standards?
I don't know how to explain it to you, but I'm not gonna take little to if whatever I can do for myself. Let me try to sum that up. Whatever I can do for myself, you're gonna have to be able to do that much or more, if that makes sense. I'm not gonna take little from you just because the sex is good or this is good or you're talking to me nice. No.
Did
Does
you
that make sense or no?
did you do that prior in your life already?
Like what? Just taking
So
anything?
did you give
You're all.
more than what you received and you're like, you know what?
When I was much younger, because that's the thing. When I was much younger, I never understood why I felt like I needed to show someone that I was worthy of their love, and that is when, like, I it took years for me to understand, like, it came from me being abandoned, where now I'm looking for a fatherly love out of men.
Mm,
So I would do the most to show you, like, look, I'm a good girl. I could do this. I could cook. I could clean. I could, you know what I mean? I would go out of my way to make this person happy, but in the end, I would just get nothing.
mm,
So it always felt like I was giving, giving, giving until I really sat down and I did some type of counseling or whatever the cases were. And that's when I realized, like, this has nothing to do with just finding a man. This has something to do with me healing from a childhood trauma, something that, it bothered me. It messed me up in a way where I didn't understand how to love, how to date, how to accept. Like, you don't have to sell yourself short just to accept anything.
Mm,
N
mhm.
now do you think you had said before it's because, you think black men go with white women because, they can get things more or be treated better?
Like get over on them.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. For instance, I'm gonna be straight. My Okay, I have family members from Jamaica, right? They want to come abroad. They want to live in America, or vice versa. And because they want their papers, they will more go to a white woman because they know that it's easier for them to get over on them.
Mm,
One, they're gonna remember back in Jamaica, they may not have, like, you have some men, they don't have the proper resources to finance themselves. However, they could treat you good. They could cook for you. Like, they come now. I've seen it happen in my family. Okay, they purposely went out and find a white woman. They'll go to tourist in the tourist area, find women that come on trips with their girlfriends or whatever, and um try to get involved with them, right? Exchange numbers, they start talking, but they only have one agenda, is to get to know the person so that they can show them, like, okay, yes, I don't have the money, but I can take care of you in other ways.
mm, wow.
So these women oftentimes fall for it because, okay, he can't give me money, but he could cook for me, he could clean for me, he could do this for me, like, he could do other stuff. So I've seen my uncles and cousins went straight to white women for that because they know they cannot get over on a black woman. Okay, yes, you want us to do something, but if you want to pursue me, but at the same time, you're gonna have to come with stuff. What do you bring to the table?
Did men tell you this? Like this is your opinion or you really
My
believe this?
uncle.
You believe like
My
your uncle
uncle.
told you that?
Yeah.
Verbatim. Like I
Yes.
could get
My
over
uncle and
on
my
white women.
cousin. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
But it's
and
not so far because then none of them were able to get their papers from it
Okay.
because over it's like once the woman starts seeing what they're doing or whatever the cases are, they break it off.
Okay.
You know what I
mm,
mean?
Okay.
So
So
in their head, they feel like it's easier than the Jamaican woman. They'll say, "I'm sorry for cutting you off." They'll say, "Oh, Jamaican women are too hard. They just
yeah,
they
that's what I
want
was just
money. They
about
want
to
this. They
say.
want that."
yeah, me
I
too.
didn't want to talk
Yeah.
over you, but that's what I was just about to say. I'm gonna shoot it to you straight too, and whether it triggers you or not, that's on you. Latinas and black women, no matter what it is,
Yeah.
Jamaican, Caribbean, Afro Latina, have strong personalities.
Yeah.
These black men, whether it's the same thing, Latino, Afro Latino, Jamaican, Haitian, have strong personalities. So think of it like two lions, a male lion and a female lion. They call the female lion lioness, if you
Hmm.
don't know, and the male lion. Most of these
Right.
women will say things of this nature. I need a man to handle me. They don't necessarily mean literally, like physically handle me, sexually handle me, but handle me. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
Latinas and black women come from the most trauma.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
because they come from the most trauma, they come with hardship. That's why it
Yes.
takes a strong man, emotionally intelligent, maybe physically as well, to handle that. Like what you said. You said, I'm soft with him because, and like I said, this is not verbatim. I'm just gonna paraphrase. I've been able to kind of give him the hardest of me, act like a brat, perhaps, and he didn't run away.
Mm.
And because he showed me that he would not abandon me, that let me know like I could trust him
It's
and stuff
safe
of the
now.
nature, it's safe and
Yeah.
all that. So most men, when they reach this pinnacle of wherever they reached in there, because remember, they're going through hardship too to get to that
Uh-huh.
level.
Exactly.
They don't want to have to handle you because they don't consider you like an animal. Yes, of
Right.
course a man can handle a woman. We have more testosterone than y'all. Absolutely. Unless he's just a weakling physically and stuff like that. She's more dominant. She's slapping him around physically. But most men are stronger than women. Okay? So, in that sense, a man does not want to think of a woman like an enemy. Like, why should I have to handle you? You're not an animal. When they
Right.
reach this pinnacle of their career or whatever they've done, struggle to get there, they want things that are light. They want a
The
woman to come into their life and lighten the load.
make it
You
easy.
you ask every man out there, one of the things he values of a woman, I guarantee you on the list is gonna be peace.
Peace of mind.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly what we have. It's true. You're not lying, it's true.
So in a way, like I know it's your perspective and I respect it, but
Mhm.
I want to tell you what the truth is. It's not so much about trying to get over on black women, not some white women. It's not so much about, oh, they're, I could tell them to shut up and they will shut up. The black women or the Latina will back talk. It's not that. It's not, oh, I can control her. It's more so of men want to feel like the man in the dynamic. Men want to feel that, I want to love you here, not feel like I'm coming home and I'm um gonna fight with an enemy. I have to do that out there, especially depending on what his job is and his status. He's probably getting rocks thrown at him on a daily. He probably has to put out fires on a daily. Stress. He does not want to come home and have stress as well. So like you said, you're in a great healthy dynamic because y'all know each other. Y'all communicate. Y'all went through what y'all went through. But if you just met somebody today, you're alpha in your day to day, making the money you want, and you meet a guy who's you could consider as your counterpart on your same level, and you try to bring that independence and that pushback, he might not want that right away because he's just like, yo, I've been through this too, like you. Like,
Mm.
don't like
Mhm.
it's you're not the only one that went through trauma.
I was
You're
about
not
to
the only
say.
one that went to get to this pinnacle of your career. Why should I not want what I want as well? I want a feminine
Mhm.
submissive woman. I'm
So,
I'm providing, I'm inspiring that.
do you guys think then? You then, Mr. Discipline. I'll ask you first and foremost. Do you think that men then go with white women because women of color have that reputation of being hard to get along with, or
Yes.
hmm,
Now, not all black women
and not all Latinas, right?
and not all Latinas.
Do you think the same thing, caller? That
Repeat
women of
that, sorry.
do you think it's also because women of color have that reputation of just being hard to get along with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
If you
Mhm.
hear it, right, even out there in the world in podcasts and stuff, women who preach more about independence and feminism and submission is oppression and confinement. It's more of the black community.
Mm. So why do you think seeing a black or Latino man with a white woman makes others feel a type of way or triggers others of the opposite race?
Personally, it doesn't do anything to me. I don't care.
Have you
So I can't
heard?
really speak. No, I can't. I've only seen it on Instagram, like people saying that black men are selling out themselves by dating white women, and they're talking about they want a queen, but yet still want, especially like with celebrities, they keep pointing out saying that when celebrities become a thing, they don't date within their race anymore. They oftentimes go straight to a white woman. I don't care. I
Mm.
Okay.
personally don't care. It doesn't bother me. I don't care. God forbid, say if my boyfriend was supposed to get up today and decide, okay, that's it, and you want to go date a white woman. I don't care if you want to date outside of your race. I just know me personally, I've tried it and it just
Mm,
didn't work for me. Because be like culture, it's a big thing for me. My culture is a very big thing for me.
Mm.
mm,
I need to be able to be myself at all times. I need to be able to in the house. If I don't want to speak proper English, I want to be able to speak proper. You got to understand what I'm
Patois.
saying. I shouldn't have to
Uh-huh.
constantly repeat myself. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I want to feel at home, and that's how I feel with him. That's how
I
I've
want to
felt in
feel
the
at
past
home.
with other Jamaican men, where I can feel like I'm home. I can speak freely.
And
Mm-hmm.
and you know what, miss? You're already in a relationship. So you're not really even seeing all that out there or hearing about it. Um,
No. And then like my friends are,
I'm
they're
I'm
all in long term relationships too.
I'm gonna
So
tell you why this is a trigger for people.
Mm.
Do you want to hear it or you just want to
absolutely.
continue? Okay.
No,
Do you
I
want to
want to
hear it
hear. I'm
too,
listening.
Sue?
Of course.
Okay. The reason why it's a trigger for women of the opposite race is because they look at it in a multitude of reasons. They look at it as we're not good enough.
Mm.
They look at it as do black men think that's an upgrade? Like what are we? Chopped liver?
Mm.
It could also be a woman who is already in a relationship and she sees a stranger doing it. Like why would you care what
A
somebody
stranger's doing, right?
strangers doing it outside of your relationship, you see?
Mm-hmm.
It comes down to that as well. You know,
Mm.
so I believe that's why it's a trigger to the opposite race because they're looking at it as, you know, we're not good enough.
Mm. And you don't have any like none of your girlfriends think like that? Like why is
No,
that? No. That's good.
N-
That's awesome.
I've never really asked them. I'll have to ask, but
n-
like I said, we've all been in long term relationships, and it's
Mm.
usually we stick to just what
What?
we know,
Right.
Jamaica.
Now I said this in season 2, episode 14, why Black Lives Matter.
Mm.
Sometimes a man gets to that pinnacle of his career, he moves maybe away from the where he was born. Maybe he was born in a low income environment, the hood,
Mhm.
right? Quote unquote. He moves maybe to LA, Hollywood.
Mhm.
Now, there might not be predominantly, depending on the area, a lot of black or Latinas in that area.
Mhm.
He's still a man, he's still heterosexual, he's not going to go the other way. And that's all he sees. That's number one. Number two, if he goes to the gym, he don't see a lot of black women in the gym.
Okay.
He don't see a lot of Latinas in the gym. If he does, it's like a unicorn thing. Oh shit. I gotta record this maybe. I might not have this experience again. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
so that's a common thing too. A lot of the black women are not in the gyms. A lot of Latinas are not in the gyms. You know what I'm saying? They're not in these areas.
Mm.
So in a way, it's kind of like,
Where are
well,
you gonna find them?
where are you gonna
The
find them?
environment.
I'm kind of just
Yeah.
around this. It could be the same thing with a woman who now has a race preference. White woman who only dates black.
Mm.
She grew up in a
Yes.
certain environment, or she's
Hmm.
getting the most attention. Maybe a thick white woman, a
Mhm.
thick Latina,
Yeah.
and she's getting
Hey,
attention from what happened?
no, you're right.
And she's getting the most attention. She's getting the most attention from them.
Mhm.
Maybe her area, there's not a lot of black or Latina.
Definitely.
So it's like, okay, she builds a love language around that.
Mhm.
Sometimes that's why
That
it
does
happens.
happen because when I moved to Long Island and I became, good friends with at that point she became my best friend and she was white. And but she was like how you described one of the thicker white chicks. Not fat, but she was thick. And her whole life growing up, all the white guys, all the white boys, oh, you fat, you fat, you fat, you're not,
Mm-hmm.
they're used to, they like that stick figure.
Figure, yeah.
So when I came around and I was like, oh, let's go to Queens, let's go to here, let's go to Uniondale, let's go to over there. Guys started paying attention to her now, like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, damn. And she
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh, well, I found my place now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I do understand that.
So when she talks about king status, right? Sometimes you're going through you become that alpha, and whatever, self-proclaim, whatever it is, you reach your pinnacle and you're like, yo, the world is my oyster now. Like I want what I want. You keep meeting these women who are giving you headache, and then you meet the other women who are treating you like a king. It's
Mm,
like you drove Hondas all your life.
mm,
You dream about Ferraris,
mm,
right? You dream about Ferraris, but I'll never get it. I don't have the money. You finally see the Ferraris. You drive it, you're like, damn. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Some
Just as
women
smooth.
some
Yeah.
women look at those men like that.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And then now it's like, wow, I'm getting the most love here. Remember, a man's not gonna stay where he's the most sexed. He's gonna stay where he's the most loved.
Mm.
A man needs respect and a woman needs love. We get that. We get that. But if the man is feeling that he's not being respected by his women, and we could
Mm-hmm.
say black, he's a black man, his women, his queens,
Mm-hmm.
Latina, he's gonna go where he's the most respected because he correlates that in his brain as love.
That's his love language.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you have anything else for her to ask her? Do you have anything else that you'd like to say in with regards to this
Just
topic?
like based on what he just said with like their environment, what they were around.
Mm-hmm.
When you said that, I remember something. Like my uncle in Jamaica, he would just date, just a Jamaican woman. When he moved to America, it was strictly Latinos. I remember as a kid, every single year that he came to Jamaica, it was a different Latino woman.
Oh shit.
Every single year.
Wi-
Every single year.
Did he ever tell you why? Like, did you ever ask him?
No, we
No.
just looked at it like, yo, this man is just you know what I mean? We never looked at it like a sellout. We never looked at it as none of that.
Just a player.
He's Yeah, my cousin is the only her and her brother is the only kids that came from a black woman in Jamaica, right? From a Jamaican. Everyone else is a Latino that he got pregnant.
Oh wow.
And right now, he's married to a Latino
Mm.
How many children does he have?
that we know of.
Oh
And
man.
we know of.
A
Yeah.
lot.
She said a lot. Yeah, I have an
No, it's a
uncle. I
lot.
have an uncle like that too. We just be finding like different cousins, like from different
Yeah.
areas.
Mm.
My dad's
How
like, guess
about a
what?
client showed up to me and
Mm.
she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm your cousin." I'm like, "You're my cousin, okay?"
Oh
Yeah,
shit.
that's my
Wow.
cousin's sister. That my cousin doesn't know he has a sister.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
they're Rolling Stones.
I just want to thank you for coming on, sharing your perspective.
Definitely.
Um,
Thank you.
do you have a problem with what I just said? Do you like us, hate us? You know,
I like it. I don't listen. None of these things could trigger me because, like I said, personally, it doesn't bother me. I don't care what someone else do, whatever their preference is. You like it, I love it.
great,
Your opinion does not change how I feel. That's your opinion.
right,
You're entitled to that,
Mm.
all
And
right.
I hope how I express myself, it doesn't make you guys feel terrible either. It's just my
Nope.
Mm.
preference.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you
Well,
so much for coming onto the show.
appreciate you.
If you need me again, let me know, Nadir. I know my schedule is a bit tight.
All right. Have a
Thanks
good
for having me, guys.
day.
You too.
All right, bye. Excuse me. Oh, you're good.
All right, so
Should I
yeah,
put those?
no, no,
No,
no,
no, no. I'm not touching anything.
run through it.
Run through the floor. Why do most black men leave black women that have been with them from the bottom and get with white women or Latinas?
Yeah,
Why do you think that is?
no, you go first.
Or why do I think that is?
Mhm.
Um, you know what? I don't know, to be honest. I don't know why they
So
would do that.
we can only talk about this because maybe we've seen celebrities do it.
Yeah.
So why do they do it? Because like I talked about on the call, he might have come from the hood. Now he goes to LA, and it's not a lot of small percentage of because you gotta have some type level of money to live there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so most black people come from poverty.
Okay.
So it's gonna be like a unicorn almost to see a lot of black people in Hollywood. So parties that they go to, etc., right? It doesn't necessarily mean he doesn't love black women, but he just sees predominantly where he's going. It's perhaps Latinas. It's perhaps, other
It's just
races,
what's around him,
Italian,
kind of.
white women.
Mm.
So now, like I said, he's heterosexual. He's not gay. He's not going the other way. He's like, okay, if there's 100 white women where I live, I'm bound to connect with one or two,
Mm.
like, or he's gonna travel, go to a different country or whatever if he's adamant about his type and then bring one out there.
Mm.
It's one or the other. There's no middle ground. So that could be a reason. Him possibly going to the gym doesn't see black women there, right? Um,
Interesting.
jobs, wherever. You
It's
know what I'm
just what's
saying?
around him. You're saying
Yeah.
what's more available, for a lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So sometimes when they get to that pinnacle too, and this is the other perspective, you know, they want peace because they had to struggle through a lot of pressure and stress to get there.
Hmm.
So now they want peace. Now they're meeting women that look like them, maybe same race, color, who's giving them issues. Remember, because they have come from trauma as well, but they haven't healed.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's like, you know what? I'm just not dealing with it. Like I'm settling. Like if I'm with a beautiful woman who's giving me headache every day, I'm settling.
Mm.
So he's talking about I could get with beautiful women from other races
Mm-hmm.
who's just gonna give me peace, who's gonna treat me like a king, who's gonna look at me as a Ferrari and treat me like that. You gotta understand too, and I said this in the Dating Outside Your Race episode, black men and all the other races, we're not built the same.
Mm.
We have the most dominant genes in the world. Women know that. Other races know that. It's one of the reasons why racism started,
Mm.
right? So a white woman who's only dated white guys her whole life sees the black man and is like, wow, king. She never called her white boys that
Mm.
because she's seeing a different caliber of a man.
So, do you think the
You
same
see what
thing
I'm saying?
happens with black women when they date like a white guy
No,
now?
and I was gonna get to that. I'm glad you brought that up.
It's amazing.
Black women and Latinas, it's not their fault, but they come from the most trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be an array of things. Their bodies are more developed, so they're
Yep.
sexualized early.
Yep.
They're molested, even by family members, right?
Yep.
Trauma, 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 trauma. Poverty is also trauma, right?
Mm-hmm.
They haven't healed from that. They haven't learned themselves. They haven't identified singular parental household
Mm-hmm.
trauma,
Yep.
right? Single mother now, trauma, 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 trauma.
Their parents' trauma on
Generational
them.
curses.
Yep.
So now they build this high masculine energy.
Mm-hmm.
And then now they bring that wherever they go.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta handle me, da 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 da, strong personality.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they look at those guys, even though they're willing to treat me well, take care of me, make me a housewife. I don't know if they can handle me. I want the black men. I think they're alpha in my mind. I don't think the white guy's alpha. I don't think the Latino's alpha. If you got a little bit of gangster, if the white boy has a little bit of gangster in him and the Latino, okay, okay. But I don't really see that. I see that with the black.
Okay.
And I'm just speaking hypothetical
Right.
to make you understand. So even though the black Latinos or the white men or even the Asians might want to love them,
Mm-hmm.
they will push them away
So
because
you're
they
saying
don't believe that they can handle them. Their brattiness, their high standards, all of that. Now, those men, right?
mm-hmm.
Also, those men may look at those women also as a problem. Yeah, she might be beautiful, but I'm taught to not date outside my race. I don't know. I don't want to deal with that because where I come from, the women are submissive. And she's already, yeah, yeah, yeah. She's already strong, independent. The Asian, he might never say that, but he's thinking it. The white man is the same. Powerful Wall Street guy. Always grew up in a high income environment. He's a silver spoon baby. Trust fund,
Mm-hmm.
bonds, right? He's going to look at the woman from the hood, or even she came up with him. Small percentage, but she came up with him. She's in Wall Street as well. Now, that might be able to work if they think the same, maybe speak similar languages. And I mean that figuratively. Like maybe he speaks proper,
Okay.
doesn't speak slang and hood.
Okay.
And the black woman speaks proper as well. So okay, they got something in common versus the Wall Street guy getting the hood chick. But she cannot speak proper. She doesn't want to. And he's just looking at her as sex. Oh, she's beautiful. But what else do we have in common?
Mm.
So he's like, oh yeah, she's like kind of prostitute type shit. But I'm not gonna marry her. I'm not gonna bring her around. Because now you thinking about marriage also is family. When I marry a woman, I'm bringing her into the whole family. So how can I bring a black woman into the whole family? Same thing with an Asian woman. How can I bring the black men into the whole family? I might be disowned. You see, it's more in depth. It's not just that.
So I know, but my question to you was, do you think the same thing happens when black or Latinas go with white men? And you're saying that you don't think that they do?
When wait, say it again.
That all right, so the whole thing was why we think black men go with white women.
Hmm?
And we says because he is maybe he feels more like he's treated like a king or
He's
whatever.
loved there more.
Right.
Hmm?
So I asked, do you think it's the same thing for when a black or Latina goes with a white guy or a man outside of their
Yeah,
race?
she gets tired of her own race.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, you know what? Maybe they cheat more. Black men cheat
Yeah.
more. Black men don't cheat, I believe. But or maybe they cheat more. Maybe they whatever trauma,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I could be loved here better.
Yeah. I've
That's why.
actually had one of my friends. She told me that when she she moved from, I want to say, Venezuela here, and when she was I asked her, I'm like, "Oh, so, did you marry? Are you, were you married?" And she was like, "No, I was dating, and I used to date, men, from my country, or whatever. But they're all so." She was like, "All Hispanic men are so male chauvinistic." She was like,
Controlling.
"Right, I couldn't take it."
Too.
She was like, "So I said, all right, let me date outside my race," and she wound up marrying a white guy because
Hmm.
he wasn't like that.
Hmm.
So
Sometimes
that's
maybe,
interesting.
sometimes maybe also like the black women who do that, they feel like they can control them.
Mm. It could be.
You know what I'm saying? They get with the Asians, they feel like they can control them.
Mhm.
They get with the Latinos, they feel like they can
I
control
definitely
them.
think that on her perspective, because she is, she moved here from another country already, older.
Mm,
That's definitely like just generational trauma, curses, and stuff like that. Like what she's seen. You know what I mean?
mm,
So that I think it's interesting that these types of conversations that we have.
yeah.
So we have all agreed that it's because women of color just have a harder way of seeing things, right? They have that hard shell that people have to normally break through.
Latinas too.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
The women of color, Latinas, especially more in America. You know,
Yeah.
where yeah, because it's there's freedom here to be whatever you want to be. There's different laws if you're trying to be something outside of the law.
Mm.
Like let those women try to branch out and say, I'm not gonna be submissive publicly in Saudi Arabia.
Oh yeah.
Let those women say, I'm not gonna cover up in Saudi Arabia.
Mm.
I'm gonna show mad skin. There will be consequences.
Oh
You see what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Even though they might want to, right? Japan, etc. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that in America, specifically with the women of color, um, it's happening more. So what was it? It was scroll up. What was it? The get along with and control.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that with so much empowerment around here, and
Mm.
the fact that I went through my trauma, but sometimes people don't work to mend themselves. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, I gotta get these bills paid. I want to get the bag. So they're focused on their business. They're
Mm-hmm.
focused on maybe their external appearance. I'm going to the gym, da da da. They're not working on the internal.
Right.
So they now bring this trauma when they go out to date.
Mm-hmm.
And this is men and women,
Yeah.
but mostly women because women are more emotional, so they're always gonna
Oh yeah.
carry it with them
Yeah.
and generalize, right? So they're gonna go on and bring this trauma. Now they're gonna say, "Yo, I got a problem with this. I make money. Da 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 da. I strive in my day to day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm independent. I have these high standards. So now, if men can't meet that, blah blah blah, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now they're struggling to connect with the opposite sex
Mm-hmm.
because of that. And it comes down to the energy.
Yeah,
It comes
definitely.
down to the energy. I was actually walking to my car from work. I closed down my store
Mm-hmm.
and a couple of black gentlemen was asking me a question. It's
Okay.
like, yo, if a girl was a stud, you know what I'm saying, but she wanted to fuck, would you? And then they compared it to a lesbian, and I was like, no, because a stud's gonna dress like a man.
Right. Where's your attraction to
Yeah,
it?
and he was telling his boy, you see, he even said it. That means you will fuck a trans. You will fuck a trans. And I was like, yo, I started laughing. But he was like, you see? And then the thing is, I looked at it like, yo, and then he said, but here's the flip. What if she got a 360? What if she turned feminine and started dressing feminine, acting and stuff of that nature? I was like, okay. And he was like, why? And I said, because the energy. I said, the woman could look so beautiful, but she's bringing that high masculine energy. That's not getting me hard.
It doesn't matter what she looks like.
Yeah, so he was like, the other guy was like, yo, you see what he's talking about? That's what I was saying to you. He was telling him, and I was like, yo, y'all should come on the show. I say this stuff on my podcast all day. And they were
Hey,
strangers.
so they're not going to come on the show? You didn't get the numbers?
No.
Now, let me ask
But
you a question. And I know we must have touched on it on that episode that you were talking about, the dating outside your race. Because I know you have said plenty of times on different episodes that you don't have a race preference. You have a preference for women who are submissive, right?
yeah,
So, with that being said, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that you've dated white women, Hispanics, light skinned Hispanics, and all that stuff. Have you ever had
Indian,
Indian?
black.
Have you ever had the people that you know, friends, family, whatever, question you like, well, why do you do that? Why is it that you can't find that? And
Yeah.
okay, can you tell us about that?
Um,
Or no, you don't want to. My bad.
let's see. So I remember my late grandmother had an issue when I was like 18 and I brought an Italian woman home.
Did she ever
Okay.
tell you why?
No.
No.
And I didn't care.
Mm.
I was gangster, like I didn't care. But I've been in situations where now it's reversed. I'm meeting her Italian parents, and
Mm.
the father wouldn't even shake my hand. I said this in episode 14.
Mhm.
Um, so I've been there.
Mhm.
Um,
You've been there on both sides. You had somebody talk
yeah,
crap about you bringing a white woman,
yeah,
and
yeah,
you've had that discrimination
yeah.
against you.
Sometimes it's also
Wow.
with Hispanics. Being Afro
Definitely.
Latino, it doesn't matter if I speak Spanish. The color.
Mhm.
So
That's very true.
um the mother who's light skinned, the father who's light skinned, the daughter who's light skinned, they have a problem with it. The father looks at it as inferior. The father looks at it as inadequacy. Why would you not get a man that looks like me?
Isn't that awful? That's crazy.
It's never articulated. I just read into
Mhm.
things, read body
Mhm.
language. I try to act like I read minds, but people's actions always trump their words.
Yeah.
So, that's an example. Also, let's say you're dating a Hispanic woman or white woman, and now the white man, he like has nothing to do with that white woman, feels the same way. Like he's like attacking that white woman,
Trying to shame
you a
her.
nigga lover,
Mhm.
or the Latino has a problem with that as
Mhm.
well because
Mhm.
it's the same thing. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
definitely.
So I've had that. My parents, no, never.
They
But
don't care you're saying?
but brother, cousin's fiance, had a problem with it. We had like a group dinner in 2020.
Okay.
It was my niece's birthday.
Mhm.
And my cousin's fiance, who's dark skinned, was saying to me and my littlest brother, why don't I ever see y'all with black women?
Mm.
I see y'all with white, Latina, or whatever it is. So I had to break it down for her because she didn't know. I
Mhm.
said, I've dated those types, but my race preference is submission. She was like, oh, I didn't know that.
Mm.
I said, yeah, you got to get the facts. I
Mhm.
said that at the dinner in front of everybody.
Mhm.
Then my brother, who's married with two kids, who doesn't wear the pants in his relationship, and I don't care. First time I'm talking about it, but you know what I'm saying? Like, this is a
Mm.
little bit me being vulnerable.
Mhm.
Had to step in and talk about Bible and women submits when she's married, da 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 da, and all that other stuff. But you don't wear the pants there. So I kind of just had to tell him, yo, ABC, we weren't even talking to you. She was talking to me.
Mhm.
So he got triggered because he doesn't wear the pants there.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? In that that sense. And even with me, like, I'm very loyal. I'm very loyal. Like even if somebody was my boy,
My
husband's wife, wanted me, I wouldn't do that.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
very loyal. Like I
Yeah.
got a code. So I said, you know what? This was a great experience. I ain't never doing these family get-togethers anymore. And everybody was tight. Like even my sister was like, "No, don't do that." Da 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 da.
Mm,
His wife was like, "No, you always gotta be serious. Da da. We all trying to have fun." My cousin's fiance was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Did I start something?" Da 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 da. Like, no,
mm,
I've always been the person that had to tone things down because I make people feel insecure where I'm around.
mm,
Scorpio shit. I make people feel like they gotta compete, but you can't compete where you don't compare. So they
mm,
feel like there's competition, even with family.
that's
So
true.
I kind of like do my due diligence by like, yo, let the shine. You
Mm,
think you won because maybe you at that level. They had to say, yo, you not at my level. That's why you know what I'm saying. But I'm just looking at it like, yo, cool, cool. I've always been the black sheep, and I'm cool with that. I'm the only one with tats, live a different lifestyle than everybody. I'm not gonna do these family get-togethers.
mm,
I don't want to be around toxic energy. Boom, boom, boom. Right. So I've had that even in my personal circle.
mm-hmm,
But at the end of the day, it don't make me say, "Oh, I gotta, you know what? I'm gonna make them happy and get a black woman." No,
mm,
if that black woman is not submissive, she's not gonna come in my. She's not gonna get access to me.
mm. Now
She's not
then,
gonna get my kindness. You know what I'm saying? She's not gonna get my love.
right.
You know, so like I had to break it down for them to understand. You know, my littlest brother was just like, "Bro, just don't get along with them." But I elaborated.
Right. You
I was
have
like,
had
it
a
ain't the
reason.
race.
Right.
It's more of the energy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So when I broke it down to my cousin's fiance, she was like, "Oh, I understand now."
Who
Because
do you
the
think has more of a problem with it?
black women and
Okay.
Latinas.
So women, just in general.
Women, yeah.
Got you.
Black
Okay.
men don't care because
Yeah.
men like
Well,
variety.
yeah.
Most
That's true.
men.
We had
Most
we had a show on that too. People go back and look at
most
it.
men like variety, and most men have probably dated different races.
Mm-hmm.
It's more likely for women to have a race preference than a man will.
Mm,
Because remember, women will go off how you made them feel. Men are
mm,
different. Oh my God, I love discipline. I'll always love him. The new guy's like, yo, why you always gotta talk about this guy? He just the way he made me feel. She'll
interesting.
keep things that I gave her because of the way I made her feel. She felt more present with me.
Mm,
Those other guys let her do whatever, so she's not present there. But with me leading, guiding, protecting, loving, giving her structure to follow, making her better, elevating, she's like, yo, I felt the most present here. I love these type of men now because of him. He proved to me that real men still exist. Good
mm,
men still exist. I love this because of the way that specific man made me feel.
You changed her mind. You opened her
Yes.
eyes to
So now
things.
you have a character preference, you
Mm-hmm.
have a race preference perhaps because of how you felt there.
You just fucked her all up because then she's not gonna be able to
Yeah.
find another guy like that.
A lot of men
Dang.
may not go to the most women that made them feel right. You know what I'm saying? A woman
They
won't
go for more visual. You're saying.
a woman won't cheat after she dated me. She won't cheat with a guy who's vanilla and white.
Mm,
And if he's Latino, maybe he's dark skinned. But that's what I mean. Where a guy who's with a black woman will still cheat with a white woman,
mm,
will still cheat with the Latina, will
mm-hmm.
still cheat with the Saudi Arabian.
Right. Whatever.
Well, they're probably still black,
Dark.
dark
Well,
skin.
Asian,
Yeah,
Chinese.
Asian. There you
Yeah, yeah,
go. You know what I'm saying? We'll still do it. But the woman, if she's gonna cheat, she's cheating with better
yeah.
in her mind. She's
Mm.
not cheating with lower. A man will cheat with what he might think is lower.
So in every instances of women will be like, well, if I'm gonna get with somebody, whether it's for her own personal like with other shows where she says, "What do you bring to the table?" It's always something better
Mm-hmm.
for in a woman's mind. You're saying
Yeah. Yeah.
interesting. All right.
Yeah. So like it's usually that, and I think, like you said, and we both agreed just now, women have more of a problem because
Yeah.
it's more of the emotional, it's
Mm.
more of the feeling. You know what
I
I'm saying?
I
Women get
also
more in their feelings than men.
I also think when you said that a man will probably date outside of his race more than a woman, I can understand that, especially after how the caller, said it. She's like, we have the same, well, she said specifically her where she's from. Like she won't date outside of not her race. She said
Ethnicity or
ethnicity, right?
national.
Because they have that in common. They have their culture, the same. So I could see why a woman, wouldn't. That's all she knows from growing up.
And ultimately, to summarize it, it just comes down to her presence in the dynamic.
Mhm.
She feels like by her dating within that, she's gonna be the most present. You heard
Right.
her.
Yep.
If I want to speak patois, if I want to, not speak English or
Right. Right.
I could be myself, and
Mm-hmm.
that's like translation of present.
Yeah.
You
Definitely.
know what I'm saying? So with the white guy, she like, oh, I'm gonna have to watch this.
Right. Or how am I
Like,
going to explain this? Right.
yeah,
Yeah, I
mm,
agree. All right. I like this topic.
yeah.
This was a good one. Um, we're also going to be, I know that we want to talk about what's going on with Palestine and Israel, but that's coming
We
up,
could do that
people.
like Patreon.
Yeah, definitely. Because
Because
that's
what
coming up. That's something that we
what
got to
we're
talk
gonna
about.
talk about will be flagged here.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So
So that's definitely
um
something that you guys are going to want to tune in because that's something,
bonus episode, Patreon.
yeah.
Yeah. Um but yeah, it really comes down to more of the feeling for women, but I think that for men it comes down to the presence. It comes down to like
How they're being treated.
how they're being treated, where I feel the most respected. If you ask a lot of men out there, do you want love or respect? I bet you a lot of them would say respect more if I have to choose. Because I feel like
From their
love
partner.
will come with that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Love will come with that. A woman who respects you and doesn't trust you is dangerous.
yeah.
That could be a friend zone thing.
Yeah,
You know what
definitely.
I'm saying? And you'll see that like during arguments. Because even
Mm-hmm.
if she loves you but doesn't respect you, during an argument, she will call you out your name. She
Mm-hmm.
won't be loyal. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, in a way, like the man wants respect, the woman wants love. That's why the woman will just go by what she feel. This guy made me feel the best.
She'll put
This guy,
her own
yeah,
respect in the back burner,
yeah.
you're saying. That's awful. That's terrible.
Even with sex, like this guy made me feel the best.
Mm,
That sometimes that might be the catalyst to why a woman has a race preference as well.
yeah, that's true.
Like black guys fuck better. You know what I'm saying? She might say that. There's been memes out there, they do it better. I ain't never seen a meme that say white guys do it better.
I never
You
seen that
understand what
meme
I'm saying?
either.
So sometimes like black women won't date outside the race because of that as well. They also feel like, yo, we're gonna connect more. If I'm from the hood, I need to do it from the hood.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like that's the best I could do. You know what I'm saying? That's the best I could get.
Yeah. You want like that
How am I gonna
counterpart to
get
you.
that high caliber man if I still if living like if you want that high caliber man, the reality is you're gonna have to make a lot of changes.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to make a lot of sacrifices because those men come with certain standards. They hold themselves to a degree, and then
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna hold the people around them to the
Mm-hmm.
same or higher. So most of these high caliber men are not just gonna be like, I'm gonna take you as you are.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? Because they've been through it
Yeah.
to get to that level,
Mm-hmm.
spiritually, physically, emotionally, psychologically. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
They've worked on themselves to get to the point that they're in.
Yeah,
And however, like you just said.
yeah.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
it's like
I also feel like if you're gonna put work into yourself, like if a person knows I have XYZ that I want to change or I don't like about myself and I have to work on it, and they're putting in that work, and let me tell you, working on yourself is not as easy, it's not an easy thing to do either. Then I think a person should want someone who has worked on themselves, also. You don't want to be the one that worked on yourselves kind of and you're healing yourself and then you get with somebody who's just going to lower your energy, your vibration.
I
That's
mean
not fair either.
sometimes as well, the uh the high caliber men didn't work on their spiritual.
Yeah, well
So they're
that's
not completely high caliber. They're high caliber in certain aspects.
right.
So they didn't work on their spiritual. So they could be toxic.
Yeah, no, they still
You
could
understand
be
what I'm saying?
toxic.
So they're not like displaying compassion. They're not understanding. They're not
Yeah.
emotional
Well,
intelligent.
that's not good.
They're really not in their divine masculine.
Mm.
So in a way,
They just
like
made it financially,
They make the
monetarily.
yeah, they make the woman worse. So the
Yeah.
woman coming in that's
Mm-hmm.
seeking help and guidance, she's fucked up even more.
Yeah.
Like it's reinforcing her traumas.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
That's
know what I'm
true.
saying? So that's on that aspect too. I'm not saying they're perfect because
Mm-hmm.
they're at that level, but it really comes down to knowing yourself. There's no shame in having a preference.
No, I don't
Women
think so
always have
either.
their preferences, but like men don't shame women for their preferences. Most women shame men for their preferences, which is crazy. And that comes down to the feelings. Like if a woman, if a woman who's older, who's like, oh, I come with standards, strong, independent, make a lot of money, gets upset with the guy who's the same age as her that says, you know what, I want younger. The first thing she's gonna do to shame is, oh, that's because you want to get over on them. That's because you
Mm.
wanna control them. That's what I was asking the caller. Specifically, what do you mean? That's because you wanna control them. That's because you feel like you could brainwash the younger girls. They can't fight you. They can't do this and that. But
You don't
but
agree with that?
no,
Oh, okay.
because some men perhaps, but you can't say all men that say that do. Maybe he
Okay.
wants a family and he sees that youth, fertility, less bodies, less struggle. If a woman is struggling to get to that top level, she has to incorporate masculine characteristics to get there.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be hard to beat a man in there. If the man wants to beat a man in there and not equal, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
He
Mm-hmm.
wants to provide more. Like, why
Right.
would,
He's gonna.
like, it's disrespectful if I want to hold the door for women. I can hold my own door.
Yeah.
She's showing she doesn't need me. Like, well, damn.
Then why am I here? Type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the younger woman might, fertility, you know what I'm saying?
Hasn't
She
gotten to
hasn't,
that status yet
yeah,
either.
she hasn't gone through all of that.
Yeah.
Even spiritually, she's not fucked up.
Mm.
So he might just think like, maybe I'll be the most present there. It's not a age.
Control thing.
It's not a control thing.
Is she's
There you
less
go.
damage maybe or less
Yes.
trauma.
So that's his preference.
Mm-hmm.
But why? Wow. But if the woman says, I want a man who's mad tall, I want a man who makes the same amount of money or more, I want a man who black, I want a man who's dominant. I'm not taking no simps. I want a man who, is a little bad boy in him. He
Mm.
gotta have tattoos.
Do you
This and that. He gotta have this type of job. He can't be the cashier if I'm the manager.
do you not think though that men shame women of their own race for dating a man not in from their own race?
Some of them. We just
Some
said that.
yeah, okay.
We just said that.
My
Some
bad.
some of them.
I was 10 steps ahead thinking
Yeah,
something
some
else.
of them some of them will
Jeez.
because that's the feeling of inadequate.
Mhm.
The
Or maybe
oh
jealousy or
oh
something.
damn, you think you gonna upgrade?
Mm.
Like it's the you're getting in your feelings.
Yeah.
You know, but the reality is black women, Latinas, women of color, whatever you want to say, they come from the most trauma.
Mm.
And that
Yeah.
trauma, in order to survive that trauma, you need to boost your masculine energy.
Yeah.
So if you're highly in your masculine, you're going to bring certain characteristics with the opposite sex that might not be appealing to the guy who wants to lead there.
Mm-hmm.
Now a guy who is okay with equality and he's the type of guy, where do you see yourself? I'm going with the flow. He's the type of guy, the woman saying, where do you want to eat? Well, what do you want to
Mm.
do?
Yeah, so
Then it would work.
yeah.
But when you get with the guy who's assertive, who's dominant, who has those leadership qualities, who also has those great communication skills, he's gonna have a problem with that. But he will also articulate it
Mm.
because I feel like these men will, um, they will elevate those women if those women are willing to learn. But most of those women, and I don't want to say all, most of those women aren't.
Mm.
They aren't willing to learn because they just think they're always right. I've got money. Like, come on, you haven't had to go through what I had to go through, dude.
Mm.
I'm a girl. I got it harder than you. She might not articulate that. I got it harder than you, so I don't need to listen to you. Why? So it's gonna be harder to get them to follow your program. That's why sometimes the man might choose the younger woman because she'll be prone to follow the program.
I also feel though, if a man is explaining like what he likes or doesn't like, or how he, wants you to be with him or whatever, that's communication. And if he's communicating with you, that's showing, that he is looking for something more long term. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So the
Because most guys don't. They just be like, "Pup, she's not doing what I want. I'm out of here."
yes. So yeah, I'm like that.
Yeah,
I
but you
I,
also
I
though
give
have
them
you
chance. I
also
give them a chance
you
though.
also put everything on the table though.
Yeah.
Like this, you're like, I'm XYZ. If you don't like it, it's up to you. The door's there. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? It's not like you trick them, or not even trick them. You don't say anything of what your preferences are or of how you want them to be with you. And then when they don't do it, you're like, well, at least you are the type to tell them ahead in advance
Yeah. So the problem is the work. So like I
that men
said,
don't want to put work in.
no, the work for women.
Oh.
Women get to this level of management
Oh,
and
job. Got you.
boss bitches. They're highly masculine. They haven't worked on themselves.
Oh,
So
got you.
so
Okay.
yeah, so it's like it's like the woman has to woman has to be couple of different roles now when she gets in a relationship.
Mhm.
And if she can't and she's with a man who is highly in his masculine, it's like now it becomes a ultimatum, you know, depending on how the dynamic is. Maybe the sex is great, right? So they kind of build relationship off that, but it's not gonna last.
No.
It's not gonna last. Especially if he has options.
Oh.
With that man, who wants to lead that woman, any man who's leading adequately has healed, I promise you.
I believe it.
Most men can't lead because they're not healed.
Mhm.
So a man can't enter the dynamic and just be like, yo, I just expected her going to no, you gotta articulate, you gotta teach her, you gotta put things on the table, give her instructions. This is how you're gonna please and serve me. You can't just be like, oh, I expect you to be submissive. That's like a man
Mm.
who's unhealed.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
But
Because
there's a lot of those.
yeah, so that's why I'm saying a man who is healed
Mhm.
is a leader, an adequate leader. So if he's an adequate leader, he's healed. Now, if the woman is giving him problems, she isn't. So if she's not observing that, yo, he's doing all the right things, I don't want to put this out there, but we brought a guest on,
Okay.
and let them go back. So I'm not gonna do that to the guest. She said, "Uh, they're married," and she said, "Yeah, he's doing all the right thing. He's a good guy. I just don't trust it." And I asked her, and she cut me off, and she read my mind. Trauma. Yeah, I have untreated
Mhm.
trauma. I recognize it. See.
Mhm.
So the guy could be doing all the right things, but because of
She hasn't worked on herself.
yes, it's like, and you know what? Do you know what the worst thing about it is? The more time a woman is invested in a relationship.
That makes it
So
worse?
if she's there for 4 years, three
Mhm.
years, whatever, with a guy, and it's toxic for that much time, the guy comes in. He has a longer time to eradicate what weak men in the past have destroyed.
Mhm.
So now he has to go through so much shit if he sees a future with that woman.
Mm.
She's not gonna trust him even if he's consistent for a month, even if he's consistent for 2 months. Well, let me wait till the third month because usually guys change after the third month. Let me wait a year.
Mhm.
You see? So it's like based off her trauma and the type of guys she's given access to, it makes it hard for her to trust.
Yeah.
So it's like the guy could be doing all the right things, but now the woman is just fucked up because she's still hooked on that relationship. And I believe that she's still stuck on the ex when she can't be
Mm.
present in a new one.
Interesting.
That's what I think.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? She's comparing in her head.
Okay,
You
I
know what I'm
see
saying? Like
that.
he's showing you clearly he's reliable.
Mhm.
He's showing you clearly he'll be there. At your worst points,
He's
whatever dynamics,
yeah.
you see, so at some level, it's the woman that's the problem. So the more the woman elevates in the masculine aspect, making a lot of money and stuff of that nature, the more trauma she's going to incorporate.
Mm. It is like a
Yeah.
vicious cycle because, you know,
Man. So
Especially in this day and age, like a
yeah,
woman has to have her own, it's just so hard with the dating
yeah.
and
But I
something.
feel like a lot of people are starting to open their eyes.
I
There's
do too.
podcasts like this
Mm-hmm.
that's talking about it. People
Yeah,
didn't know of these terms.
that's
Now
true.
they do. So now women hope they're gonna open their eyes more. More people are actually connecting more
Mm-hmm.
because their eyes are open.
Yeah.
And they're starting to realize that, like, wow, yeah, I really should tell myself, like, those women who think that they got it all, they're the ones that's always going to be crying at the end of the day. You're still going home alone, sweetheart. You're still doing this. You're still having those one night stands. You're still alone on the holidays.
Mm.
You're still, getting dogged out and played.
Yeah.
You're still getting lied to. You know what I'm saying? But you think you get in the bag, okay.
Yeah.
But you see,
You can't take the bag with you.
yeah, it's just not in a woman's nature to be a provider. So why do you care about the bag so much? I understand, single moms, whatever, you bills. I
Mm-hmm.
understand that, but at the end of the day, if you choose to make that money when you get with these type of men, you got to learn how to tone it down. Ask for help. If not, then you get with the weaker guys.
Mm.
You get with the beta males and you run them.
Yeah.
And then you're not happy there because, like I said in the show prior, when shit really hits the fan and you really need them, it's,
Yeah, it's not the same.
I got a man, but do I really have a man?
Yeah,
You see? So that's
definitely.
what it comes down to. So the race preference, it's not a shame.
No, I
People
don't
want
think
what they
so.
want.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people don't see color.
Yeah.
They're more so of thinking how this person makes me feel or how present I'm going to be here.
Mm.
They don't look at color. You know,
Uh, mm.
even if a woman said black man only, it's more than that.
It's how he makes her feel.
Yeah, those guys.
Mm.
Those guys gave her the most love. Maybe they appreciated her curves.
Mm-hmm.
She could be,
Yeah,
she could be a skinny woman and still saying that. Maybe
that's
they gave her
true.
the best sex.
Yeah.
Maybe they were more present. Maybe they were more dominant. Maybe they were more leadership qualities in that dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes down to more so of the woman how she feels there, the men how present I'm going to be, how respected I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
So if you have the strong, independent woman that he already sees I'm not getting respect.
Mm.
I'm chopped liver.
Like what? Right
She's
off
she's
rip.
she's selfish and she's building separately. That's also disrespect for him. It's just like I said, a lot of men won't articulate things.
Hmm.
They'll just like actually complain to their boys more than actually having the conversation with the
Yeah,
woman
definitely.
because
That's who you gotta talk
they
to.
kind of feel like
She
the
won't
woman
listen.
can't handle the truth.
Mm.
She's too sensitive. She's gonna cry. I just might as well talk to my boy. Maybe he got advice.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yep.
All right.
So yeah, once again, you are tuned into one of the most raw, uncut, unapologetic, real podcasts of this Therapy Podcast.
Peace.
Peace.